Welcome to Insurance Insights with Jason Coulter, a weekly live informational show discussing all types of insurance products. You can catch him every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on your Facebook and YouTube channels. If you would like to join a live show with Jason, send us a message. Now, here's your host, Jason Coulter.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you're doing good tonight. Here in Lincoln County, Kentucky, we've been dealing with about 5 inches of snow today, so it's been one of those days where you couldn't get out, do much of anything, just cold and snowy. But good thing is it's all starting to melt off, so that's a great thing. We got a great program here for you tonight as well. We're going to have a couple of live guests on and talk about a lot of different things. I was thinking today about the program and about local insurance agents and how important they are. I know in our area here in Lincoln County, Kentucky, a lot of companies have gotten away from the local agent, and you have to deal with a lot of folks over the telephone, different things. But we all know that having a local insurance agent is important in a lot of ways because you got somebody you can call, bring to your house, and they can help you fill out forms. They can go over your policies. They can do a lot of things. So here at American Senior Benefits, we're bringing back the local agents in the community, and I am proud to be a part of ABS, ASB. Stephen got me mixed up on that. He done my email last week on here. It said ABS, but it's actually ASB. And American Senior Benefits. So we're glad you're tuning in tonight. I know last week's program we had several live viewers on, but we did have a lot of folks that went on and watched it afterwards, and that's the whole purpose of Insurance Insights, is just to give you a place to go to where you can go back and watch things that we talk about. Last week was on Medicare. This week's going to be on Medicare Part 2. And we're just going to bring our first guest on tonight. All the way from Owensboro, Kentucky. Was with me last week. He's there on the screen now. Eric Whitmer, how are you tonight?
Doing good.
How's your day been, buddy?
It's been a long one. In Owensboro, we only got about an inch of snow, and it was melted by about 11. So I took off at 11 and got home 30 minutes ago.
Just in time to get on Insurance Insights.
Just to work some more.
We have another guest with us tonight. Good friend of mine, all the way from Loretta, Kentucky, Caleb Lee. How are you tonight?
I'm doing all right. We got about 4 inches of snow here.
4 inches of snow. You've got some good news to tell the folks tonight. You just passed your insurance exams, correct?
Yes, and opened a insurance agency here called Bluegrass Insurance, which is contracted with ASB.
Yes, and I got your logo somewhere, and let me grab it real quick and put it up here. Folks can see your logo there. Caleb, good to have you on tonight. We're excited to be bringing you on as well with American Senior Benefits, and he's going to be an agent down around Marion County in that area, so you'll be seeing his business cards. He's going to hang out with us here tonight, and we're going to turn Eric loose here. Eric, we're going to talk about Medicare Part 2 tonight. I know you and Thomas shared a lot of valuable information last week about Medicare, what it is, and we want you to just pick up where you want to pick up tonight, and hopefully we'll get some folks interacting here with us, asking questions. Feel free to send them. We'll see them in the comment section. And we'll stop and have Eric to answer them for you tonight. So, Eric Whitmer, good to have you, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I'd like to start with the same aspect we started with last time. Medicare beneficiaries, whether you've been disabled for 2 years or you've turned 65 or you worked past 65 and you got off your work insurance. You have 3 options. Option 1, you can just have original Medicare, which is just A and B and a prescription plan. Or you can take out a Medicare supplement and a prescription plan. And then the third option is a Medicare Advantage plan. I would personally, I would never just get traditional Medicare with just A and B and a prescription plan. And here's why. I know Thomas went over a lot of numbers last week, but I'll make it really simple. You have a 20% gap that can be on you. Any Medicare recipient, if you just have A and B and a prescription plan, you have 80% hospital coverage, 80% doctor coverage, and the 20% gap. So you're new to this, Caleb. You understand what 20% gap means. You have a $100,000 bill. How much could you owe?
You could end up owing 20 grand.
That's right. That makes no sense at all to me personally.
Right.
Okay. So your next option is a Medicare supplement plan. I like Medicare supplement plans a lot. They start at about $100 a month. They don't have any dental, vision, and hearing on them. However, most Medicare supplement plans cover everything, minus a one-time deductible. Plan G is one plan in particular. It has a one-time deductible, and then everything's covered. And when I say everything, here, we'll play this game again, Caleb. You have $1 million bill at the hospital. You've already paid your deductible. How much do you owe?
Nothing.
That's it. Zero. Medicare supplements are really simple that way. That's what a lot of people like about them. I'm a big fan. However, the negative is they don't have dental, vision, and hearing. And the other aspect is they go up in price every year. So one reason with Medicare supplements, and I just did this earlier today with a client of mine, that you need an agent for is you need to review those once every 2 to 3 years to reapply and get a better price. A lot of seniors don't know this, but Plan F with Mutual of Omaha is the same as Plan F with Aetna, is the same with Plan F with every company. The benefits are regulated by the federal government, meaning the benefits have to be the same in Plan F with one company as is Plan F with another company. Or G, G, N, N. All those, they have to be the same. So the only difference between, I'm going to use two companies' names. If you use Humana or Medico as an example, there's no difference but price. If the plan letter is the same, the only difference is price. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And they have to cover the exact same things.
Exact same thing.
Regardless of what company it is.
Right. And you can, if anybody finds it hard to believe, you can simply Google what's the difference between Plan G between companies. I showed that
and
to a lady on the phone earlier.
A lot of folks don't know that. And they think once they get their Medicare supplement plan, whatever company, they just need to hang out there. But I actually had a question at church this past week about reviewing a Medicare supplement. And I like what you said. A person ought to do that at least, every couple years?
Every 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
The average increase on those are between 8 and 12% a year. Okay? I can't, I don't want to touch on products or companies because that's not what we're doing here. But the person earlier today had a Plan F with, let's just call it Company X. Okay, they were paying $322 a month for. I was able to get them the exact same Plan F for $180.
Oh, wow.
$140 a month less.
That's the reason why you need to review your Medicare supplement plans.
Yep. I would say review it every 2 to 3 years, if not every 2. And then the same people need to review the prescription plans every annual enrollment, which is October 15th to December 7th. Okay?
Right.
All right. So there's that part. So we went over A and B, went over Med Subs. The next part's Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage is very attractive to people because it's either a zero premium plan or a very, very low premium plan. Medicare Advantage comes in two different types. You have your HMO and your PPO. HMO plans typically have a few more benefits in Medicare Advantage than the PPOs, but you don't have as much. Let's say you travel out of state for care, you'd want a PPO, not an HMO. The PPO has that travel coverage benefit. Okay. But you trade some of those extra benefits like a food card or an over the counter benefits on a PPO to get that travel coverage. If that makes sense. I hope it does. Medicare Advantage, the positive, obviously. See if we go with MedSups again. With MedSups, you pay for it whether you use it or not. Medicare Advantage, you don't pay for it until you use it. So if it's a 0-month plan, you have copays when you go to the doctor, typically averaging anywhere from a $0 copay to a $10 copay based on plan. And then a specialist would be anywhere from $30 to $45 based on plan. And then all Medicare Advantage plans have out-of-pockets for outpatient hospital or inpatient hospital. So I like Medicare Advantage plans for a lot of people because not everybody can afford a supplement, number one, right? Some people have dental, vision, and hearing needs as well, and they can't afford those plans. Medicare Advantage is great for that. But I will also add in Medicare Advantage, typically, unlike a MedSup, we almost never put our clients in just a Medicare Advantage plan. Jason's been doing this a little while now, so he sees what I'm talking about with that.
Right.
There's plans in the insurance business that are set up specifically to cover the gaps in Medicare Advantage. One of them is called a hospital indemnity plan. It's quite literally created to cover those ambulance, hospital, outpatient surgery, skilled nursing facility copays. Exactly what it's for.
Right.
There's other Medicare Advantage plans that exist that give you Part B rebates. So Part B in Medicare costs $185 a month. And some of these plans offer $50 a month rebate, $70 a month, $85, $100. So for easy math, let's call it a $100 Part B rebate. So instead of paying $185, you'd be paying $85 a month.
Yes.
But there's a trade-off for those. They always have higher max out-of-pockets. So keep that in mind. So the biggest things. Go ahead.
That's where covering the gaps with these other products becomes very important. To have that, we can give you a give back, but then trade it off with some other coverages to help fill those gaps.
Right, like the hospital copays. Right.
Yeah, definitely. Just so folks understand that.
And for anybody who has a Medicare Advantage, this typically for a 5 to 7 day stay, it ends up being around $2,000 that you owe. Now, if you're in there for 40 days straight, it's still the 5 to 7 day up front, okay? Just seems like a lot of clients don't understand that. It's not $0 a month and it covers everything a MedSup does. That's not how it works. I'd like to spend a second covering what Medicare doesn't cover, period. Not a Medicare Advantage, not a Medicare supplement, and definitely not the traditional just A and B coverage of 80%. Medicare does not cover long-term facility care at all. Okay? Once you're in there, you're going to have to pay for a long-term care facility. Medicare does not cover that for you. That needs to be known right off the bat. 2, experimental drugs with cancer is not covered. You may get a doctor or facility to write off what they're doing on their taxes, but Medicare is not covering experimental drugs. So a lot of times with our go ahead, Jason.
With that, I remember from our meeting, about 60% of those are classified as experimental drugs, correct?
Last time I saw it was 45%.
Okay.
But the point being, is that's a lot. Number one.
That is a lot. Yes.
And number two, the typical average cost is between 10 and 15,000. Not everybody has $10 or $15,000 laying around.
Exactly.
Or if they do, they don't want to give it to XY hospital. They may have the money, but same way, I don't want to give it to a hospital if I can.
Exactly.
Use the insurance company's money. So cancer coverage is becoming more experimental by the day because people are tired of fighting poison with poison, killing the poison in their body with chemotherapy, which poisons you in a different route. And I don't blame anybody for feeling that way.
Right. Exactly.
So cancer coverage is important whether you have a Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage, or just traditional Medicare. Obviously, Medicare does not cover your final expenses or any outstanding loans. Medicare does. Again, I'm going to cover this again because it seems like a long-term care facility would fit into health, right?
Right.
But it doesn't. It's not covered at all. It seems like a lot of people I meet with don't understand how the long-term care facility setup works. You go to a facility, you pay the monthly bill, which, Jason, what is it in your area typically?
Starting around $6,500 a month.
Okay. So that's very unaffordable for most people. So you start off paying $6,500 a month, in whichever way you can, whether it's your Social Security plus your bank account or assets, whatever. So your retirement that you were counting on is going to go to them. And then once you run out of assets, money assets, liquid, they will come after house, car, whatever they can. And then once you've completely done what's called a spin down of your assets, then you go on Medicaid.
Exactly.
And a lot of times with the Medicaid people, they don't get to stay at the same facility they were paying. Or if they had a private room, now it's not a private room. So we look at coverages to help with those cares, like home health care coverages and long-term care coverages. I personally really like the home health care insurance coverages that exist now.
Yes.
Because about 5-10 years ago, those plans didn't exist, and now they do. Okay. And I don't know anybody who would rather be taken care of at a facility over the comfort of their own home.
Exactly right.
So the main things Medicare doesn't cover, it doesn't fully cover home health care or long-term care. It doesn't cover final expenses. It doesn't cover experimental cancer. Okay. And if you have a Med Sup, it doesn't cover dental, vision, and hearing. Medicare Advantage, however, does.
There you go. Differences in Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantages. Hit on this real quick, Eric. Right now, we're in open enrollment for Medicare Advantages.
Yes, MAOEP, correct.
And that is a time period where if you're already on a Medicare Advantage, you can look at switching to another Medicare Advantage guaranteed.
Yep.
So folks out there that's watching, that will be watching, just keep that in the back of your mind. You're right now in that enrollment period where you can take a look at it and see if you can do better than what you're doing currently.
Yep, January 1st to March 31st. And even if you have a Medicare Advantage plan that you like and you don't want to switch to another one, you should, if you're watching this video, you should sit down with an agent to discuss the gaps in your coverage like we literally just covered.
Yes, absolutely.
And all these things can be covered at a pretty decent price that's affordable for most people. I don't think people knew they existed. I don't know how many clients I've sat down with where hospital indemnity, they didn't know it even existed or what it was.
Exactly. And a big thing in our area too, and we've seen this at an appointment, Eric, folks don't realize you come to that place in your life to where you or your spouse have to look for long-term care facilities. A lot of folks don't realize the process of what's happening at that point. And, as Eric covered there a minute ago, you're looking at a minimum of a $6,500 bill to do that. And
and that's a month.
Yes, that's a month. That's a month. And what you're getting into is your entire life savings is in jeopardy at that point.
Poof.
And there's a lot of folks I've dealt with in the funeral industry and things that have had those scenarios. You need to look at some of the products that we have available for that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to add that.
No, it's perfect. Absolutely true. Last thing, and it's kind of an offshoot. To switch from Medicare supplement to another Medicare supplement plan, you have to typically prove insurability. However, the state of Kentucky has came up with what's called a birthday rule for seniors. So how that works is 60 days from the day of your birthday on, you can switch from a med sup to another med sup. It has to stay the same plan. So if you're in a plan F, you have to switch to a plan F. If you're in a G, you got to switch to a G. If you're in an N, you got to switch to an N. However, you don't have to prove insurability for that switch. We have done a ton of these, and it is extremely helpful for seniors. Because remember what we were talking about earlier, the gentleman I saw earlier today was paying $322 a month, and I was able to get him to $180. He was healthy, so it was, easy.
It was an easy switch, yeah.
Right. So let's say you have somebody with cancer. They can't switch. They may have tried and been turned down, feel stuck. Well, with the birthday rule, they call an agent on the day of their birthday. Let's just call it June 2nd. If their birthday is June 2nd, on June 2nd, we can go out there and switch them to a much cheaper plan. The coverage is exactly the same, and the companies can't say no.
Yeah, exactly. Now, that has to be done on their birthday. Is it 60 days after that? Okay.
After. The day of and 59 days after, basically.
Okay. Just to clarify that.
And if it's 61 days after, too bad.
Too bad, yeah.
You gotta wait another year.
Okay, so to reiterate that real quick. Eric, stop me if I say something wrong.
Feel
Birthday rule. In a Medicare sup, from the day of your birthday to 59 days forward, you can switch Medicare sup plans, guaranteed issue, and it does not matter about your health conditions.
Correct. It does not mean you can switch to a Medicare Advantage to a Med Sup. It has to be Med Sup to Med Sup.
Yes, and that is in Kentucky.
Correct. The whole state.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, so say you meet with somebody in April, and they want to keep their Med Sup, but their health is just awful. I could give you a list, but we'll just say it like that. It's awful. And their birthday's in November. You just schedule a time to come back in November.
Good. That is very good.
Easy peasy
there to know. Yes. So to back up again, and we've been on about 24 minutes. Covering those Medicare sups, Medicare Advantages, gaps in the coverages. These are all things that you need to sit down and talk to your local agents about. And I realize that a lot of this, Eric, is done over the phone, correct?
It can be done over the phone or in person. I prefer to do it in person, sitting knee to knee, eye to eye.
Yeah, what I was saying is a lot of these sales take place from over the phone.
Right.
And I wonder sometimes if folks really understand what they have and what they're getting.
Well,
I think it's great to sit down with somebody, as a local agent and
right.
do this in person.
From my experience, when people do it over the phone, I've never seen a single person who bought over the phone have any fill the gaps coverage.
Right.
Never seen anyone with a hospital indemnity, because if somebody calls you from X company, they're only going to pitch X products. And if that company doesn't have any of the others, you're not going to even be talked to about it.
Exactly.
So I believe in being knee to knee, eye to eye, where you can see exactly what I'm saying. I can show you how I wrote it down, make it make sense. I can see if you are understanding or not understanding. You can look me right in the eye and see that I'm telling you the truth. So, again, third time, I prefer to be knee to knee, eye to eye.
I always like meeting with people when I do business deals, and I'm sure a lot of the folks in my area are the same way. So we want people to know that's what we do, and we're able to help you and assist you in these different types of needs that you have. So, all right, Eric, close us out here today with just a summary of what we've covered. We'll have another program next week. You and I will get together and we'll talk about where we need to go. We're open to ideas. If you want us to cover a specific topic, send it to me, and we'll get the professionals on here that can help us to do these things. So go ahead, Eric.
Well, the main thing is the three different choices you have. You can have traditional A and B in a prescription plan. You can have A and B in a Med Sup in a prescription plan, or you can have A and B in a Medicare Advantage that has a prescription plan built into it. There's not one size that fits all. I'd be hard-pressed to see a situation where having traditional Medicare A and B 80% coverage makes sense, but there probably is somewhere out there that does make sense for some individual. But I'd be hard-pressed to find it.
Right.
Medicare supplements fit, but not everybody can afford them. And over time,
that is so
some people
true.
can afford them.
My wife and I was talking about that the other day. I had a comment made. Personal preference is a lot of this. And like Eric said there's a ton of people that cannot afford a Med Sup. And so Medicare Advantage becomes a great option for those folks.
Sure.
And even though, your opinion may be that this is not a good idea or this is a good, because I hear that all the time. Well, what I have figured out with Medicare is everybody's situation is different.
Absolutely.
Everybody. And what works for Jason Coulter may not work for Caleb Lee, and it may not work for Eric Whitmer. So it's very important to not just take somebody's opinion of a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage and say, well, that's not for me. Explore your options, get with your agents, and realize, let them show you on paper how your plan compares to a new plan. And never cut yourself short that way. That's just my opinion.
Fully agree. There is no one size fits all. It's just not a reality. I know people would rather it be that way because simplification, you don't have to try, you know what I'm saying? But it just doesn't work that way. So you need to take it seriously. Honestly, I would argue that for most seniors, their health insurance is the most important decision they make.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean life insurance or retirement planning isn't important, but if you don't have your health insurance coverage correct, you can run out of your retirement. You won't, say you have traditional Medicare and you have $1 million bills, you owe $200,000. What is your choices at that point? Medical bankruptcy, payments until the day you die. I can see that messing up all of your retirement. So that's why I think it's the most important.
You're exactly right about that, and we want folks to know that. And all right, Caleb, you got anything you want to add before we jump off the show tonight?
For me, this has been really informative. I went through my training recently, and there's a lot to grasp there. So he's definitely the guru.
There is, and Eric's awesome. And I'm like you, Caleb. I'm just getting my feet wet in this stuff, and there's a ton. I told somebody, Eric, that yesterday, I'm an agent in this, and I see all the stuff that you have to know about Medicare. I can't imagine being an 85-year-old senior and trying to understand all this stuff. I mean, it's overwhelming. It
Right.
really is.
I don't claim this to be fact. It's a personal opinion of mine. I think they make it that hard on purpose.
Well,
I've always thought that.
could
Keeps a whole lot of people employed.
yeah, could be. Eric, buddy, I sure appreciate you. Caleb, I sure appreciate you. All the people that are watching, that will watch the program, and we thank you. Reach out to us. Caleb's a new agent. I'm a new agent. Eric's been in the business a long time, and we want to help you with your decisions and make sure we get you in the right place. So don't be afraid to reach out. You know, we're not high pressure sales. We just want to help folks, and that's what we do. So tonight we'll let you get off here, guys. I thank you very much, and y'all go watch the rest of the UK game. I've not even looked at the score. All right.
All righty.
See you guys.
See you, Jason. See you, Caleb.
Thank you. There you go, Eric Whitmer, Caleb Lee on with us tonight, covering a lot of great things about Medicare. And as I was just saying there, Medicare is so much information. And it's just one of those things that where there's a lot of different things that goes into it. So get somebody to help you if you're confused about Medicare subs, Medicare Advantages. Get somebody to help you. I can do that. If I don't know the answers, I'm not afraid to say I don't know the answers. I'll get somebody to help us that does know the answer. So we do a lot of different things besides Medicare stuff, and that is life insurance. I was saying today to somebody, I have over 200 companies that we can check quotes and prices on with life insurance to make sure we can get you the best deal. Review your policies. Make sure you know what you got. I can tell you this from experience, being in the funeral industry for 12 years. I can't tell you the number of times that folks have brought in life insurance policies that for whatever reason wasn't any good anymore. And maybe they didn't know what they had. Mom or dad had this policy and let's check it, see if it wasn't any good. Well, come to find out, it went up in price. Mom had to drop the coverage because she couldn't afford it anymore. There's just a lot of stuff that you need to know about insurance products in general. That's where a local agent comes in to help you. And it's somebody that that lives in your community, somebody that can help you pick out the best product, make sure what you're paying for is what you want. And so I'm here to help you do that. These Insurance Insight programs, I'm not making anything off these programs. This is just in general information to get to the community and hopefully help you guys in some decision making on what you need to do. We're going to be talking about in the future life insurance, different kinds of it, cancer policies, heart attack policies, stroke policies, long-term care insurance, annuities. Annuities is a great thing. I don't know, a lot of folks out there watching may understand annuities. Some of you don't understand annuities. But here's the thing. If I want to protect my investments and I want to make sure my money's going to be there, I'm not necessarily, and I'm not downing any companies when I say this, stock market, there's a lot of risk in it. And you guys know that. It's up and down. Annuities is a safe place to where you can not lose your premiums or your money that you paid, your initial starting bucket of money. So we're going to cover annuities here one week. And any other topic that you guys have, I would love to get some professionals on here to answer your questions. So just shoot me a message, shoot me an email. Let me know what those questions are. I thank you for tuning in tonight. We'll be back again next Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. And in the meantime, be blessed. Stay warm if you're in Lincoln County, Boyle County, surrounding areas. We've got a lot of snow on the ground. I realize it's melting right now. That's a good thing. But it's been one of those days to where you just, here in our community, we just had to hang out here. So I've took some naps today. That's a good thing. You guys be blessed and have a good night, and I will see you again next Tuesday. God bless you.
You've been listening to Insurance Insights with Jason Coulter. Join us next week as Jason mentions universal life policies, whole life policies, term policies, annuities, and much, much more. You can reach out to Jason. Send him an email, jcoulter@asb.insure. Licensed since 2005.